Welcome to the Real Estate Deep Dive with Paul D. Garrison from JP and Associate Realtors. Welcome. Today we're going to be taking a look at home price appreciation. Here are the 2021 year-over-year house appreciation numbers from some of the leading authorities in the industry. So what we're looking at is where home prices are today compared to this time a year ago. FHFA 18%, CoreLogic 17.2%, and Case-Shiller 16.6% appreciation. The difference in the numbers here are due to the timing of each entity's reporting. For example, CoreLogic is reporting the month ahead, so June's numbers, while Case-Shiller will release the numbers for June next week. Either way, we're seeing some incredible appreciation year over year. At the end of last year, we saw around 10% appreciation. We're seeing even more appreciation across the country. In recent deep dives, we've talked about the question, is the market slowing down? And looked at it from the buyer perspective and from the seller perspective. The issue facing the residential real estate industry across the country is an inventory issue. We don't have enough homes to meet the current demand. So as long as inventories remain low, it's going to keep an upward pressure on home prices. As we look forward into 2022, experts are saying we're not going to see the appreciation gains like we have seen this past year. It's likely to not be as high, but it's still forecasted to be strong. So this brings us back to the question, is the market slowing down? Let's take a look at this quote from OJ Labs. The housing market continues to be ultra competitive even as new COVID cases surge, but new data shows the level of competition and ensuing price increases may be cooling off just slightly. Data shows that 49.6% of homes sold for more than the initial list price in July, far ahead of the numbers reported in July of 2020 when only 26.8% of homes were sold above the initial asking price, but below June's total when 50.4% of homes sold for more than initial listed. That sure is a mouthful, but what exactly are they trying to say? Well, I'll be honest, I had to reread this a few times, and as they say, a picture's worth 1,000 words, so let's take a look at this information in graph form. So they mention the market's cooling off, but 1 out of every 2 homes is still selling for above list price. So while we keep seeing headlines that the market is cooling off, we need to keep it in perspective. While we've seen a big jump since July of last year, the percentage of homes selling above list price has just started to fall compared to June's numbers only by a little bit. So starting to level off, yes. Cooling off, technically yes, but it's still pretty hot. The analogy I like to use is that you're speeding along at 70, 80 miles per hour and then you see a cop. So you hit your brakes, you slow down to the speed limit, which is 40 miles per hour. Well, it may start to feel like you're crawling, you're still actually moving along at the speed limit at a very good pace. Well, in this case, you were doing 70 miles per hour and maybe you slowed down to 65 instead. We're still seeing significant appreciation. We're still seeing many homes selling over list price in multiple offer situations. The key thing to note for buyers is to not be fooled by these headlines. We're still in a hyper-competitive market. Let's take a look at NAR's 2021 Q2 home pricing report. It shows that 99% of the metro areas across the country reported year-over-year price appreciation increases. So pretty much all of them, and 94% of them had double-digit gains. Now in that same report, Lawrence Yun, the chief economist for NAR, is quoted as saying that home price gains and accompanying housing wealth accumulation has been spectacular over the past year, but are unlikely to be repeated in 2022. So where are the experts expecting our year-over-year appreciation to end up at the end of the year? Well, the average of these 5 experts is 12.46%. When we started out the year, these forecasts averaged around 5%, but they all have ratcheted up their forecast because of a lack of supply. They expected more inventory to come into the market this year, but we just haven't seen it yet. But as I've mentioned in recent deep dives, we're starting to see additional inventory creep back into the market. You can see that since the beginning of the year, we've almost doubled in the number of new listings coming on each month. This is evident when we look at the year-over-year change in the housing inventory for June, where there was a change of negative 43.1% across the country and negative 50.5% here in Texas, versus in July, where there was only a negative 33.5% change across the country and a negative 39.3% change here in Texas. So we are starting to see some relief in the inventory issue. So again, it's very important to keep things in perspective. Yes, the market is starting to cool, but yes, we're still in a very strong seller's market. This graph from NAR actually kind of highlights that. So yes, we're still seeing multiple offers on the really nice homes. We're still seeing homes sell in a matter of days. And we're likely to continue to see that for a while longer. It may not be quite as frenzied as it was earlier in the year, but it still is a very strong seller's market. So I would like to wrap up this week's deep dive by looking at the home price forecast for 2022. The average of the forecast for these experts is 5.5%. So while some people may be thinking the prices will go down next year, all the leading experts are still forecasting prices to go up, just not at the frenzied pace that we've seen for this past year. It comes down to the number of homes in this country have not kept up with population growth, and that is keeping an upward pressure on home price appreciation. So as we see additional inventory coming back into the market and helping to slow price appreciation, it's not likely that it will cause a drop in home pricing. Many of the metrics and numbers in this presentation are based off of the national real estate market. However, local areas can vary. Please give me a call and we can discuss your situation. Have questions about your specific needs or location? Please contact me at 214-683-8188 or paul@pauldgarrison.com. Want more information about the housing market and related issues? Be sure and check out my blog at www.pauldgarrison.com. Thank you for your time. Please take a moment to visit our website at www.pauldgarrison.com.